Hey everyone, uh, thank you for joining. We're going to be starting shortly. I'm just going to be setting up our screens here, so just bear with me while I do that. Feel free to add your introductions in the comments. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Shoaib, and I'm going to be moderating this live session. Thank you so much for joining us today. And while we get started in a couple of minutes, feel free to introduce yourself, tell us what you do. If you're from the GIS world, um, just say that, or from from the developer world or geospatial development world. Would love to hear what you do and where you're from. And it would be also cool to hear about how you heard about Geobase, if you want to share that. And also, throughout the session, I'll be keeping an eye on the chat. You can post your questions on the fly, and we'll try to get to them um, by the end of the session.
Yeah, I don't know why on the feed on.
Okay, we're live.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, there's just a delay, but it's good now.
Okay, everyone, I'm going to introduce Fernando here. Fernando is a front-end engineer and a very creative designer. He's going to be doing a live coding session, so by no means an easy task. If anyone's ever done live coding, it's a daunting and scary thing. So be kind and kudos to him already for having done this once in the previous session. And it was awesome. It's really something that you will enjoy a lot. So I'm going to hand it over to Fernando. Fernando is going to be giving you an overview first of what geobase is, when you sign up to geobase, what's the interface you get, some of the features, and then he's going to open up his editor and start. Well, he's going to introduce the app that we're going to build, maybe the final product, so that you get a sneak peek of it. And then by the end, what are we going to have using the open source templates that or the blueprints that we provide as part of our product. So with no further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Fernando. I'm going to get out of the way.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Yeah. Um, so the first thing I'm gonna do is share my screen. Let's open this thing. And okay, so my screen should be visible now. Let me know if it's visible, if it's good. Awesome. So um, what you'll notice after you sign up is you'll have an empty screen here on the studio at GeoBase, and this will allow you to create a new instance. Now, you may or may not be familiar with Supabase. Supabase is essentially a backend as a service, and it's an open source backend as a service. And what we have done is we have created a fork of it and added all the geospatial features that we needed to make geospatial development way easier. And so when you arrive here to the studio and you create a new instance, like one of these that I have here. Uh, so wait, no, not this one, this one. You'll arrive at this onboarding page where you'll see a few guides on how to work here and the template that we'll be using, which is Shareable Maps app, and the other documentation links. Now, what this backend as a service allows you to do is essentially have a Postgres database that you can work with in various modes. Particularly, one thing that we were very interested from the beginning was the real-time connections to the database, because that allows for some very fun use of the database when making real-time map applications, as you'll see later on. So here in the studio, we have a table editor which is now empty. We don't have any database tables yet. We have an SQL editor where we can run SQL for this server. And we have other settings where we can configure the extensions and other things. Supabase comes with authentication by default, so we are obviously leveraging that as well. And there's also storage bucket, which we'll use for this project that we're going to live code. And finally, our favorite feature is the tile server. So to make this all make sense, I'm going to be building an app, as Shab said. And the first step would be to click here, which is going to take you to the documentation page that we have right on the blueprints section. And this is an XJS blueprint, which is pretty much the standard for front-end development nowadays. It's a React framework, and the ecosystem is very mature. So we decided to go with this so that it's easy to extend and it's easy for any front-end developer to follow. We create this tutorial where it goes step by step on how to set this up. And we're going to be doing this, and we'll show you how it looks in the end. So we already have a deployed version of this. So this is what you get, essentially. Now, I've already created an account on this application that was built, and you have some maps. You can create a new map, and so on. And you can make some drawings here. You can zoom in, and add pins, annotations, and you can erase those as well. These are just sample layers for the map. It could be anything. It could be like real data that you want to show, like something that's relevant for your industry. In this case, it's a blank template, so we give you like the full control of like customization for it. Now, what we're going to be doing specifically on this live coding session is we're going to be extending the base blueprint that we give to you here in the docs. Because this version here that you're going to be able to download, you can share maps. Where is it? You can share maps like this, but it doesn't have the editable features, and it doesn't have the live cursors yet. So we're going to show you how to add those live cursors, like this one right here, for example. And it's going to show you other people moving there, and so you can work together.
Fernando, can I reduce the buffer around the window? It's quite a lot. Should I do that? Because it could make the screen a little bigger. Should I do that? Just if you give me
on the left.
1 second. Yeah.
Yeah, feel free. I'm sharing the full screen, so feel free to change it. Yeah.
I think it's because, or is it? Is that how? Oh no, maybe that's how it's supposed to be. Okay, I'll keep going. I think that's fine.
Okay. Oh, you can click on the hide participants button. I don't know if you clicked on it already. Like right between my screen and the participants. Nice. Okay. I'm gonna close this then. Yeah. So for that, the first step is going to be to here on the docs page, click this link that will take you to the repository and the tutorials here as well. And then you'll click on use this template, which is going to create a new repository for you. You're not going to fork it. It's a copy of that repository. So in this case, we're going to make this. I already have one, so I'm just going to say 2. And I'm going to make this private. And then you're going to click this, and it's going to copy it to your account. And once that's done, you can then just copy this link, and then you can clone it, or you can just download it. In my case, I've already done that, so I'm just going to jump to it, GeoBase live streaming test. And I'm going to open my editor. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how this demo is going to go about. Now, because we don't want to spend too much time on the actual typing of the changes, I've created 3 commits on Git that for each section that we'll be working on. And I'm going to go through the changes of each of these commits for each of these files. And then we'll see the changes as I add those commits to this branch. So, but before we do that, before we start adding the commits, we have to get our connection details. So I'm going to copy this key, and I'm going to rename my environment file here. And I'm going to replace it with our project ref. And then the second thing is we're going to copy the API key, the public key. We're going to save this. And we're also going to install our dependencies. So we're going to do npm install. You can use npm or yarn or any other package manager. It's going to work with all of those options, with all of the node-based options. And now the other thing we're going to do is, let's see, the other thing we're going to do is we're going to have to create an account, but let me run this first. Okay, so now this should be available on localhost 3000. And we're going to see this empty screen. Now, here's the thing. This, if I try to use it, it is not going to work. We have connected to our database, but if I try to create a new map, it's going to throw an error. Well, first it's going to say, it's going to tell me to sign in. And if I create an account and do all of those things, it's still going to fail because I need to set up my tables. This is right now an empty instance. So we'll have to run the migrations. You can run the migrations directly using the Supabase CLI. But to keep things short and quick, I'm just going to copy the contents of this SQL file. And I'm going to go to the SQL editor and paste it right there. And now let me just quickly go over what this is doing. It looks lengthy, but it's not that much. We're essentially creating tables for the profiles, the accounts. We're setting the row level security for those. We're creating a bucket to store the profile images. And we're also setting the other tables that we'll need, like the map projects table, which keeps track of all of our maps here that a user can create. So these would be those that I'm talking about. And then we create a table for each layer type that we are going to be working with. In this case, would be the drawings, the pins, the annotations. So that's basically what it's doing. And then it's adding the row level security, which is saying that, only if the map is public, you'll be able to read the tile server. Otherwise, you have to be the owner and you have to be authenticated. So, and the other little thing that we're doing here is we're creating a trigger so that whenever there's a new annotation created, we update the bounds of the map project. And that's basically it. So I'm going to click run now. And you'll see we now have a new tile server table. If I go here to my table editor, you'll see that we now have this empty tables all set up. And if I go to the tile server section, you'll see the tables that have geometry type columns are gonna appear here, and they automatically generate map tile endpoints that you can use with any map tile library. Um, so here we show some examples on how to use that. That's already done on our project. So if I now go back here, I close this, and I open this thing here. Now I'm going to try to sign in. There are no accounts, so I'll have to sign up. And I'm going to use the same password. Sign up. And I shall receive a link. Looks like that's it. Yeah. Okay. So, oh, that's not it. Oh, I think is it this one? 0 minutes ago. Yes. So this is now throwing an error because it's trying to access localhost with HTTPS. But if I remove the HTTPS, it's going to redirect here, and now I am signed in. So that's what would happen on production. So now I'm signed in, and now I can start creating maps. So I'm going to create a new map, and I'm going to call this Hello World. And I can now start annotating some things here. And I can now make it public. It's currently private, so if I create a new incognito window, I'll move that to the right. And then I copy this URL. You'll see that it's saying that it does not exist because it's private. So if I make this map public and I reload, oh wait, there you go. Now you'll be able to see the annotation that I added previously. Now, if I add a new annotation, that's gonna appear there in real time. But the user on the right cannot do any changes because it's only in read mode or review mode. So, it cannot interact with anything. Now, let's go over to what we're going to be doing for this live session. We're going to be doing three main things. And the main thing is going to be we're adding live cursors. Now, what that means is kind of like in Google Docs or Google Sheets, when you are working with other people, you'll see other cursors moving around and making changes. And it's usually colored cursors. And on the top right, you usually have some little icons, animal icons saying like anonymous dinosaur just joined, or some type of animal there with a color. So that's what we are going to be implementing for this session, so that multiple people can work on the same map. We're going to make it so you can follow them around and see what they do. The other thing we're going to be doing is we're going to add the option to make public maps also be editable, in case you not only want to share something that you've created, but also like collaborate and work at the same time. We are going to be enabling that with a switch. And lastly, we're going to be integrating cogtifs. So that basically means adding the ability to drag and drop geotiff images, whether that's from like drone imagery or satellite images, anything that you might want to add there that's raster type. We're going to show you how to do that as well. And you'll see that it's actually very easy to do all of these things. It's very easy to extend. So let's dive right into it. So now that we have this setup ready, I'm going to click on this commit here, and I'm going to walk you through the changes. Now, we're going to be adding some constants here to our const file, where we're going to be creating the adjectives, a list of animals, and a list of colors. And we're going to be creating a set of functions that will generate the guest names. So that would be like red lazy panda. And we're going to be using those for the usernames for the guests, the people who are not authenticated. We're also going to be making a lot of changes to this map controller file, which this file is essentially where all the magic happens regarding the actual map interactions. So, the place where you want to, if you want to add a new tool, a new layer type, this is where you want to go. This is where you want to handle those things. Um, this is a place where all the state regarding the map is handled and distributed to all of the other components, like this component here, the menu, or this other component here, the sidebar. So we're going to be doing some changes there. And the first thing we're going to be doing is adding these types to keep track of the user movement data that we'll need, like the position of the mouse and the bounce of the screen, and of course the username. We're gonna have a list of players so that every user on the map is gonna receive the data from everyone else's cursors and name. By the way, you'll see that word players all over. This is like the common term to when we speak about collaborative tools. We talk about multiplayer features. So then we're gonna be adding to our main controller context the following and the set following properties here. Now these are state and state setter, so that we can select someone to follow around on the map. Then here we're gonna have some more local state to keep track of our color, the username, and very important here, the multiplayer channel and the cursor markers, which is the things that are going to be shown on the screen, the actual cursor elements. So if we go below here, you'll see that we have a isFirstLoad, which is within a useEffect hook. And here we are setting the username. This is where we call the generate guest name. And this is where we set up the broadcast and precedence events there. So this is basically saying that whenever we receive a broadcast event with a name of mouse move, we're going to take the payload of that data, and it's going to have the position of all of the users, and we're going to update our local state so that we can render those cursors. We're also going to tell the user who just joined or who just left by listening to those events as well. Then below here, we are setting up the mouse events. So this is going to be called by the map client whenever the user moves the mouse, and it's going to be sending the payload with the long coordinates. We're going to be sending the bounds so we can follow the people around, and that's basically it. We're also going to be updating the state whenever we receive the mouse move broadcast event that we mentioned before. Then we set up a useEffect hook where every 100 milliseconds we're going to be, if we selected someone to follow, we will fit our bounds to those bounds of that person, and that's going to give us the effect of following someone. So then below here, where we actually have the map component, we're gonna be attaching some events here for the wheel event when the user zooms in or zooms out. And then below, we're gonna be finally rendering the markers as one of the layers for the cursors. We are using an SVG icon for the cursor icon, and we're gonna be rendering the display name with the background here, and the mouse has the color of that user that was attached. So that's basically it. We also add on the account menu component, so that will be this component here. We're gonna use it to add so that whenever a user joins, you'll be able to see the list of everyone who's on the map and click on those on those menu items so to start following one of them. So that's what we're doing here. We're looping through the players that we have attached to the map controller context provider, and we're just going to list all of those and call a function to set following the user that we have selected. So now let me just apply this so that you can see the changes real quick. I'm going to cherry pick this command, cursor part, and then if I go here, you see we got the little notice there that someone joined, and you can see my mouse. On the left, I am authenticated, so it's using my username. And on the right, I am not, so it's saying that I am a clever lion, a pink one. And so then here, it looks like we have the same color. So here we can start following one another. In this case, I'm gonna tell the clever lion to follow me. And as you'll see, now if I move, it's gonna follow me around. If I zoom in on these islands here, if I wanna make whatever annotation, like follow the river or whatever, then I can just do that as well there. And then magic starts happening here. But you'll see like it's cool, but we still want to have the ability to collaborate and have multiple people do annotations and work with this data at the same time. So the next step is going to be adding the editable column to our table. Now for that, we're going to have to run some more SQL here. And I'm going to copy it and I'll explain it over on the studio interface. I'm going to maximize this and click here. And I'm going to paste it. And so let's make sure that I pasted everything that I need to paste. Yep. So here what we're doing is we're adding a new column called publicly editable. So if I click here, we currently only have this one that says published, and this is just like a read-only flag. So we want to add an edit flag as well. And we also want to update our policies. We want to update them so that the maps are, so that all of the associated layers to each map project, whenever the map project is set to publicly editable, then you don't need to be authenticated to be able to insert or make changes to those tables, as long as it's within the same map project. So that's everything that's happening here. So I'm just gonna run this. And if we go back to the table editor here and we go to map projects and go to the last part here, you'll see that we now have this publicly editable column now. It's going to set to false. And now we just need to update the interface to enable that, because if I click here, I still only get this toggle. So I'm gonna make this, I'm gonna move this to the right. And now let's go to the other UI changes. So here we're going to be changing 4 files. The first one is going to be this project provider file, which is essentially a mirror of the map project table that we have. So as you see, all of these correspond to one of the columns on the database, and we just need to add this new field as well. Then on the map controller, the only changes that we're doing is we are preventing the user from getting angry, basically. We're not going to allow him to create annotations or insert annotations. And if they try to, we'll throw an error and we'll say that it's not possible. That's essentially what we're doing. Even though if we didn't add these changes, the user would still not be able to do so because we set up the role level security. But it would be an unknown error, like we wouldn't know what's happening. Whereas with here, we clearly are saying like there's a problem with it. And then here in the map menu, so the map menu is this little thing here. And when we click share link, this is where that's located. So we're adding a new toggle. So the toggle is right here. Switch is editable, and with the little label there, I can edit, only owner can edit. And then here we're handling what happens whenever you switch that toggle, or when you toggle that switch, rather. And here we're just saying like, hey, if the map is set to is editable, then it should also be published. but if it's published, it doesn't have to be editable necessarily. So that's all we're doing here. And to push that change to the database, it's very simple. You're going to see all this pattern all over the place, which is basically just accessing the Supabase library, and it's selecting the table, and it's updating the specific columns and under one condition or many conditions, and just handling the errors and letting you know that it happened. And then on the map UI, we want to show the toolbar whenever a map is editable or when we are the owner and if we're authenticated. And that's it. So now if I cherry pick this commit, click enter, you'll see that I have to refresh here. Oh wait, I still have to make it editable. It's currently just read only. So if I toggle this now, we'll see the toolbar there as well. And now this person here is also able to add lines here. Play tic-tac-toe. And you see it's very simple to do that change there. We can toggle that off anytime. If I update this again, then this person will no longer be able to do that. You see that I still have the pencil tool here, but I cannot do any changes anymore. So now we can. Well, actually, I'll have to refresh because okay, now there you go. So yeah, that was very easy. Now we can collaborate. Now we can work with the same map and add annotations. Now you can of course extend this to be you can modify this to meet your project needs, right? Like currently we just made it publicly editable, but you can add very specific like role-based security systems to make this as like however you need it, and it's very easy to do so. Then the last part, and in my opinion the most interesting part, is having the ability to load geotiff images for, like as I said, like drone footage or satellite imagery. And what we are going to be implementing is I want to be able to drag and drop one of these files. So if I drop it here, and if I drop it, then it should appear there. That's what I want to do, and then be able to annotate on top of that. So for that, we'll need to add a new layer to our map, and it's actually very simple. We just have to write some more SQL. And let me go back to my SQL editor here. And can I hide this? I can't. Let me just make this a little bigger. So here it's very simple what we're doing. We are adding a new table called GeoMedia, which is it's kind of like the other annotation tables that we have. And we're making an index there. We are enabling real-time because we need to know when someone updates, when someone adds an image to a map and when someone removes it. You'll see later on the front end how that looks. We need to enable row level security, just like with the other tables. And we are giving it the same treatment. We're saying you can only read it if it's public, and you can only change it if you're the owner or if it's publicly editable. Then we're also creating a new bucket, which is where we are going to be storing those diff files. And we're also adding the same policies to that bucket so that only the people who were invited can do that. So I'm gonna run this now. And now if I go here, I have my GeoMedia table, which is empty. And if I go to storage, you'll see that we also have an empty bucket. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what we did on the front end. But before that, we're going to be needing a dependency to be able to handle the COG protocol, which is Cloud Optimized GeoTIFFs. And what that's going to do is it's going to make it possible for us to not have to download the whole image in order to see it. GeoTIFFs can be pretty large, a few hundred megabytes sometimes or even more. And so we want to be able to stream them and buffer them as needed. depending on what the user is looking at. So I'm going to close my local server here, and I'm going to do npm install, and then I'm going to paste this. Um, ah, protocol. And then I'm going to hit enter. I'll run it again. And I'm going to apply it. I'm going to apply them separately because I don't want any conflicts. So I'm going to cherry pick this file. Oh, look at that. I'll have to do it manually. Anyways, let me go through the changes. So the first thing we're doing here on the map controller file is we are loading that library that we just added, and we're adding a new protocol for the map library client there. Then we are adding some tabs that we'll need there for the code below. And we're setting the new layer type, right? We're also setting a new channel to listen to changes for that table. And below, we have our function that does the initial load. So when we load a map, we want to load all of the images that are associated with that map. And then after that happens, we want to start listening to Postgres changes, specifically for the table that we just added, and only for this project that we're looking at. And we have three main events that we'll listen to, and that's the insert event, the delete event, and the update. And whenever something is inserted, that means that the user was just uploaded an image. We want to create a signed URL so that we can use that file, and it's gonna sign it for an hour for that particular session. And when it's deleted, we just want to remove it from our map. If it's updated, we'll want to do that on the map. Then we add some event listeners so that if the map knows what to do when you drop an image, it's going to validate that it's a TIFF file, and it's going to say that it's loading, and then it's going to upload that file and then insert it into our table that we just created. It's going to save the metadata that it needs. And then once we do that, we attach the event listeners here on the container for the map, and we just add the new layer here. And we're setting a source, which is using this cloud protocol. We're passing the signed URL and the file size and all that, and then it just we just add the layer there. That's it. Like, it's very, very simple. So now if I cherry pick this commit, it's not gonna like it. It's gonna overwrite that. So let me real quick. Let me just commit this. Let's go. Yeah, let's just commit all of this. And now I'm just gonna cherry pick this commit. There you go. And if I go here again, let's move this to the left, and let's open this part here. If I now drop in an image, in this case, I'm going to drop this Liga one. It's going to be uploading, and here you're going to be able to see it appear somewhere in here, I think. It's going to appear as soon as it gets uploaded. Let's give it some time. Successfully uploaded. So I think I missed the section. Yeah, it was right here. I was very far away. And as you see, it's buffering. So as I zoom in, it's trying to load more detail, and now you're able to have these satellite imagery very fast. Like, how long did it take to do that? Like a few minutes. And you can see how this can scale like very fast, right? I mean, you have like these two people here working together. If I follow myself here, and I can be like, I can be talking about something here on this left side, making some annotations, talking about this region or whatever, and then the other person can see it right there. We can add pins, say whatever, like all these things, and it's all happening in real time. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, like it's so fun to me to see like everything that you can do with this tool set. It's so fast. Um, so yeah, I mean that's it. That's basically the live coding session. That's everything that we wanted to do. It would be awesome to cover even more details and more things, but we didn't want to spend too much of your time doing this. But yeah, feel free to leave any questions in the comments, and we can dive into those. In any case, I'll give it back to you, Shrav.
Oh wow, that was incredible. Um, I'm just gonna switch to my video stream here. Okay, uh, that is very cool. So if anyone has any questions they want to ask, please do so in the chat. I know there's a few people watching. Not a huge, but there's a half a dozen or so people, and we can get to them. And in the first session, we had someone who is working in the industry in this and using geospatial data um, for the uh, for humanitarian and development work. In my, unfortunately, she couldn't attend the second session, but maybe Fernando, you and I can have a little bit of a reflection on what Annie had said. And so Annie works for an NGO called Slum Dwellers International, and their mandate or their mission is to um, allow people who live in informal settlements because of various reasons of inequality or marginalization or others, society-based injustices, but then advocates for them by helping them get land rights, protect them against encroachments, or help them advocate for better conditions or for better resilience against climate change and so on. So um, one of the things that Annie mentioned is that the the data collection part is one part of what they do, but then the second part is using that data for advocacy work, which can often be a hurdle because of the tremendous amount of like friction, technical friction around collecting data to bringing it to something that's useful. And maybe Fernando, you want to reflect on how what we just did can solve some of that friction.
Yeah, yeah. So Amy mentioned that one of the bottlenecks was to actually be able to share useful insights, important insights about the data that they collect. Because one part is collecting the data, which is a whole thing on its own. But then there's this other challenge of like, okay, so what do we do with this data? Like, how do we put it into use? How do we, like, what can we do to improve the situation for the people living in these slums? And by using the technology. And she mentioned a lot her interest in real-time features and like just the ability to make, for example, an application that allows people to like notify when there's a leak or when there's something happens to their houses, or like notify the city hall or the community or everyone in real time and use the data that's available to inform everyone. And I can imagine that there's even way more things that can be done. But she did put a lot of emphasis on that. And she also mentioned like the ability to share those insights and how hard it can be to kind of like arrive at those conclusions. Like just being able to share insights is difficult. And with a tool like this, I think it can empower people to make more of these tools by making it easier. Um, Using React, I mean, React is kind of it's the most used web development tool. So like you can find any tutorial. I mean, you can even use like ChatGPT to make a React app in seconds. So um, you can just imagine how easy it is to make mapping apps now that you have this. It's like plug and play. It's like make me this app, and like you download the template, you extend it, you can. I mean, it's the limit is your imagination. Like really, like it's very easy to just do anything you want.
Yeah. Um, okay, so we went through a lot here. Maybe just for the benefit of somebody who's starting new, maybe you want to just share your screen and just quickly show the docs, and then where do you just like maybe the first step they would take if they wanted to get started. Do you want to just quickly do that? Just quickly show the docs part again, because I understand like what you did may be very advanced for a new React user or even like somebody who's just beginning JavaScript programming, but is a um,
Yeah. So
this is the
I mean, if
docs
you're new,
page.
yeah. So if you're new to programming, then what I would suggest, personally, the way that I learn usually is by making the things that I want to make, and like kind of like stumbling my way there. So I will just follow the instructions here. Now, of course, this is going to require you to have some knowledge of the terminal on the computer. Um, so it's kind of like an intermediate type of tutorial, I would say. So if you've never done any web programming, then I would start with the basics there. I would learn about like how to set up a simple website and how I get those basics, and then I would learn how to install a node so that you can just go here and then download it, install it. It depends on your platform. And that's just gonna enable, like the moment that you have this package manager, that's gonna enable you to do a lot of things. Um, so I would start there. I would start with React tutorials. I would literally just look for like React basic or actually Next.js tutorial. And then there's gonna be like a step-by-step guide. I mean, there's gonna be a million of those, right? So I would look into those. I would make one of those, and then once I'm able to set up one of those projects, then I would go here and then set one of these up and just follow the instructions. The other thing you can do is you can join our Discord community. Where if you have any questions, we're gonna be there, and any question is a valid question. So um, you can feel free to just reach out for help if something's not working for you. Um, but yeah, I think that's what I would do if I would like try to get started with this. Um, and I would leverage ChatGPT or other like LLMs. I mean, this project is designed in a way that it's like easy to use with those tools. It's easy to ask questions about it. Like we're using tools that it understands very easily, basically.
Right. So get a hold of a basic React tutorial and and then maybe just or Next.js tutorial, and then by the way, the code for this is open source. When you go to docs.geobase.app and look at the template, you will be able to do exactly what all the steps that Fernando did. And actually, what Fernando did is part of the what's called the Pro Blueprints and those are available right now as part of our early beta launch. And if you look in the docs again, you would have seen like GIS and data scientist. And one of the things you did there, which is to load something called a geotiff. Let's just talk a little bit about that, because not a lot of people would be familiar with not only just geotiff, but also what we did is something called a cloud optimized geotiff, which is a relatively new
Yeah.
standard, what's called part of the cloud native or cloud native geospatial data sets or data formats. There's a bunch of different standards within that cloud native um, set of standards, but cloud optimized geotiffs is one of them. Um, maybe you can, yeah. So I mean, the fact that we included this in our stack is kind of representative of the fact that this really is a very modern, cutting edge stack, right? It's state of the art is the word to use, I think, and the fact that we support it, you know, seamlessly for developers that may not be familiar with geospatial can come in and very quickly start getting hands-on with cloud native technologies, cloud native geospatial technologies is very, very cool from my perspective. I was blown away by this myself, um, that that you were able to build this a drag and drop interface for cloud optimized geotiffs.
Yeah, I agree. And like I just love the fact that it uses the stack that everyone in the web industry knows. Um, because getting into into like geospatial development is not easy. Like it's hard, to be honest, right? Like you have a bunch of different protocols, you have a bunch of different map libraries, you have a bunch of like terms and things, and like oh, like the true north, and like the you have this map projection thing, and then, like there's just a lot of things to think about. And for me personally, like the fact that I can use the tools that I've always used, and it's just like I just have to learn a few new things, like what a tile server is, and like like raster tiles and like uh, versus vector tiles and etc. Um, it makes it very easy for me to just like jump in and learn more about this. And I think it works the other way around too. Maybe you have a GIS background and you're also like maybe you took a boot camp or you took a course or something on like web development, then you'll find that it's easy to merge those two worlds with GeoBase. Whereas before it's a mess, to be honest. Like I mean I'm not from the GIS side of things, but like I don't even know where I would start. Like that's how I see it. So yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, does anyone have any questions they want to pose to Fernando or generally about Geobase? We can wait a few. We got a couple of minutes before we wrap up things, so happy to answer any questions. Uh, the app is actually currently live, right? We can. You want to share the link? We
Oh
can
yeah. I will share a link. Yeah.
because
Let's go for this link.
we
Yeah.
deployed it. Oh, cool! There it is.
We're all in this together. Like 5 people.
So if you go to that link, let me share my screen as well. Or Fernando, you want to share your screen? We can
Oh
see other
yeah.
people then. Is there anybody there?
And not that I'm looking. Not anyone that I'm. Orange West Eagle joined the map. I don't know
Okay.
who's West Eagle. Is it you?
Yeah, that's on me on my iPad. I guess it's just me. Um, let me share my screen here. How do I screen share?
I can share it if you want. I have it ready. I have it
Oh yeah,
ready.
you want to share your screen? Yeah.
Yeah. A wise, lonely eagle in the middle of the Atlantic. Oh, it disappeared. It went away. Okay, there it is.
Yeah. Okay. And if I go here as well, I open it up.
I like how this part here looks like it's like city lights.
That's a very contentious part of the world. Um,
Like, yeah, like there are little dots that
very com
have
very competitively
like,
loved, that part of the world,
yeah.
as I like to say.
Oh, look, we
Um,
have someone else.
that's also me on the other screen. Uh, Maybe you can do the follow thing so we can see how the follow works.
Yeah.
So let me tell you about my recent trip,
Okay.
recent adventure to get married. Uh, so I recently got married, and that was over here. I don't know if you can
Which
follow.
user are you?
Oh, I'm the one up north. Maybe I need to reload.
The Happy Wolf?
Okay, Clever Panda, green Clever Panda.
Clever Panda.
Do you see it? No. Hmm.
No, for some reason, no.
Okay.
Are
Oh,
you on
there's
your
some
iPad?
there's some there's some minor pat. I am also on the iPad. I'm gonna close that one. Okay.
Okay, now I'm able to follow Mighty Fox.
Okay.
Okay.
But the map is not editable by me.
Oh, what?
Is it publicly editable? Or do I need to be logged in? Is that right?
Nope. Oh, no, yeah, you're right. It's not publicly editable.
Oh, cool.
Now it
Let me
is.
just awesome. So, uh, yeah. So my partner and I got married here, and then we spent the afternoon walking to this um, wharf, washed the boats, and then we had a lovely dinner at a
Nice.
at a at a lovely Danish Michelin star restaurant over here for our wedding.
Nice.
Um, yeah. So yeah, that was my last weekend.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. Um,
Righty. Schwab's wedding spot.
I should actually write Shoaib and Olga, but okay, get the idea. Cool. I think we're out of time almost, so unless there's
Yeah.
any questions, we can then start wrapping things up. Thank you everyone for being here and for joining, and hope to hear from you. Join our Discord channel if you are interested in more. I'll paste that as well in the chat. Um, and also, I will paste the docs page.
Nice. Yeah, I'm
And
noticing there's a huge delay. Oh, no, no, never mind. I'm not looking at this thing live. Never mind.
oh, sorry, I'm actually not showing anything here. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you, Fernando. It's really been a pleasure working on this with you, and look forward to more awesome stuff from you.
Yeah.
And uh, I hope to do more of these in the coming future,
Yeah,
in the next not too distant future.
yeah, let's go. All right.